Hi, all my beautiful people. The camera is kind of situated by the fan, so hopefully you can hear this. I bought a wireless microphone, but it's not been working. But anyway, I've had a very interesting couple of weeks, and it's been a little bit of a difficult time. I have Clarissa here with me. She's been very attached to mom right now. It's been very cute, but anyway, sorry, I have a lot going through my head and trying to decide where to start. This is the first time in a while I've wanted to be on camera, and I don't know, just been dealing with a lot of situations, a lot of emotions, and I don't really ever cry. I feel things like coming up. So I just did my meditation, my yoga, all that good stuff. And I drew the Two of Cups, and traditionally this talks about love coming into your life, particularly like a romantic relationship, but it can also address like any type of love, including self-love. And the deck I drew from has journal prompts, which I really enjoy, and the prompt was how can you soften into love, and not only for other people but for yourself. So I use that as my journal prompt today, and I really encourage everybody else to do it as well. And don't just necessarily, because some days I just want to, like, okay, I'm just getting the journaling done. I just want to be able to say that I did it. But I'm really trying to be intentional with my journaling and really sit and digest the prompt, whether it's from the cards, someone else, myself, and just really let my creativity and intuition lead the way, as opposed to just trying to rush through journaling and get it done. Just really taking time to really express things deep down. And for me this week, things that I didn't even think were an issue, and then in journaling are coming up. And then taking time to go back and read what you wrote and just really think on it. I always struggle with how much of myself do I share, how vulnerable do I want to be, and that's definitely something that I'm being directed to work on, is my vulnerability, and it's not easy for me. But just a lot of what I've been journaling is sorry, using my dog as like a little comfort thing right now. Sort of since childhood, very early on in my life, being expected to be responsible for others and deal with others' emotions and having to put mine aside. And sometimes it was because if I showed emotion, the reaction I got was not great. And so a lot of times it was just me trying to put the chess pieces where they needed to be strategically, in order to survive. If that metaphor makes sense. I don't play chess, I don't know why I used it. But then never, like, everything that I gave never really being reciprocated. And at a very, very, very young age, too young, being expected to take care of young people and be in charge of them, and then the people in charge of me not always doing the same, especially from an emotional perspective. In all my relationships, and I'm only saying all this because I think that a lot of people can relate. Just not always having people in my life with the same level of emotional intelligence. And this is something that literally 4 people know about. I'm going through a divorce, and it's not contentious, it's not being fueled by hate and anger, but at the same time, there are things coming up and conversations that are happening, and where clearly the other party just doesn't understand why I need them to take responsibility for something and not turn around and project it onto me with, you know, their feelings that honestly they can't process. And I don't know, some people, well, anyway, that's getting off on a tangent. I was taught that I needed a knight in shining armor to save me, and that particularly as a woman, I wasn't capable of standing on my own. And this is something that now in my 40s, I'm reprogramming and learning a lot about myself. Things that I always knew, but never fully had all the confidence I needed to live in that mindset and stand in my power. But, you know, especially, I mean, this is a journey that's been happening for a very long time, years. But in the last 6 months, I've had a lot of really deep inner work going on, and coming to a lot of realizations, having a lot of tower moments, and sort of the ebb and flow that all that brings. But, you know, I'm learning that this is something I've said my whole life, but I don't think I've truly really, I'm not truly lived it, is until you truly love yourself deep down, you can't really love others. And I am in a place where I do really love myself, and I want everybody to get to this point and to understand that we can mix our strengths and our weaknesses, our flaws and our great qualities, and learn from them, and discover that we are this complete, whole being that deserves everything, but particularly love. And I truly am at a point where I do believe that, and I know that I saved myself. I do not expect other people to do that. You know, I am able to care for myself. You know, and this is also something I want my kids to learn as well. But I've had this refrain, well, for months, but in the back of my head, and especially the last couple of weeks where there's some tough things that have been going on. And just, I want to be held. I just want to be held. I just want to be held. And there was one day, this is sort of a funny story, but there was one day I was reading something, and it just, a lot of things sort of boiled up and kind of hit the target, and I actually started crying, and my kids were there playing. We were just in the house, and literally one of my kids was right next to me playing, and there was like 15 minutes before either of them, and I wasn't like sobbing, wasn't making noise, but their, you know, tears were just streaming down, and neither of the kids noticed for at least 15 minutes. And then it was like 2 aliens who don't quite know how to, for all you nerds, it was 2 Vulcans. I think that's right? Star Trek? Spock? Vulcan? I don't know. Just like, what do we do? Someone's crying, like, I don't know what we do in this situation. And they're, you know, like talking to each other, like, Mom's crying, what do we do? But not talking to me. And just, like, what do we do? And my youngest was like, well, we gotta cheer her up. But still nobody was talking to me. And then eventually they went and called and texted their dad. It was like, Mom's crying, what do we do? So then he calls me and he's like, what's going on? And, I was just like, don't worry about it, whatever. And, just sort of the whole time, I eventually did tell him, I told the kids, some of it too, but like, I never got a hug. And I just kind of have this refrain in the back of my mind that like, I just want to be held, And that's really tough because I've kind of felt that way most of my life. I'm always the one holding others, and it's not really reciprocated. And I think there's a lot of you out there who know what I'm talking about. And we have this strength that we can just pull ourselves out of the deepest, trickiest situation and still contain others within our arms and compartmentalizing all of this. But then we just feel alone and I can't even always process all the feelings. It's a deep distrust of others and feeling that I can't be vulnerable, I can't be open, I can't share my emotions because up to this point, this has been the reaction. This has been the trend. And as hard as that is, we also sometimes have to look at where am I making change? Because we can't change other people. I tell my kids this all the time. Oh, hey, sweet girl. We can't control other people. We only can control how we respond and react. And it is not my fault that people treat me that way or treat you that way. But also, until we do the work and truly accept and love ourselves, we kind of, I don't want to say allow, that's too strong of a word, but we're kind of drawing into our life what we expect and anticipate because we are just like, well, this is how it is. But it doesn't have to be. And we can demand things, and we can say this isn't right. We can say I'm not getting what I need. And this doesn't even have to be romantic relationships. It's any relationship with anybody. Sorry, again, there's so much going through my head. We can, sorry, my hair is just, I usually have it up because it's just hot all the time right now. But I put it down and I'm not used to having it down in a couple of months. So, I guess just sort of what I'm trying to say in a very long, rambling way, and probably none of this makes sense, is that we need to love ourselves enough to say, this isn't right, this isn't okay, I need something different. And hopefully the best outcome is that the people in your life, romantic, platonic, what have you, will be receptive to what you have to say and apologize, say, I'm sorry, I didn't realize this. You seem so strong, you seem so confident. Like, it didn't really occur to me that this was an issue. And you can have conversations and it won't be easy, but you can get to a stronger point in that relationship. For some of us, there might have to be change, and that's really, really hard and difficult. But sometimes that's what we need to sort of light a fire within us, because I know for me, that's been a part of this. I've been for 5 years walking around like a zombie, just feeling so dead inside, and deep down a small part of me wanting more, but not knowing how to get that. And this is isn't even in terms of relationships. This is just sort of everything, my life in general. But just feeling so empty, and a lot of that does go back to emptying my well to give to others, and not having anything to pour back in. And this is sounding sort of like a, oh, so, you know, pity me. That's not it. I just I'm just hoping that this is relatable, because I know there are a lot of people who feel this way. And you know, we hear a lot about finding, you know, your match, you know, your soulmate, you know, finding that your person, your specific person, all these things, and that's fine and that's great. But also, before any of that comes, we need to be our specific person. We need to be our own soulmate. And I know for those of us who have this weird inner strength, and maybe I'll post about that, and some things that I've journaled, because I think there's some other things that people can probably relate to as well, who are similar to me, and the things that God gave us this weird ability to be in the depths of despair and be able to pull ourselves out of it, or at least pull ourselves out enough to function. And that is hard, knowing that you're the one that does that, and feeling like there's not really anybody else who sees you in those moments and who is helping to pull you out. But nonetheless, we really need to understand that we are enough for ourselves, and that you know, being a human is about connection and companionship,